Take two with special guest Rob White here on the Eiffel Tower. My new fancy microphone was a fail, so we're going back to the cell phone microphone. We're inside the plastic bubble bar here. Were we at the first level of the Eiffel Tower?
First level of the Eiffel Tower.
Rob's the FO with us on our New York to Paris run today, and it turns out Rob is a genuine safety professional. Has been through no less than 4 different professional safety programs. You were Air Force, you were Tweet FAPE also, correct? That means first assignment instructor pilot in the T-37. And then what was your, the rest of your career consisted primarily C5s?
I flew, C5s, and then last half of my career was on the staff.
Mm-hmm. And then through that program, or through your whole career there, which you were smart, you did the full 20 years, right?
22.
Yeah.
Active.
Yeah, because you were furloughed a bit from American. And
4 years.
For 4 years. Yeah. And so was able to finish that Air Force career. But in the meantime, what were these 4 different safety courses that you went through?
So I took the accident investigation course with Air Force at the Air Force Safety Center, NTSB in Herndon, Virginia, FAA in Oklahoma City, and I took the NASA course at the Johnson Space Center.
So each of those courses have a little different culture to them, or each of those organizations, obviously. The Air Force one was like, you said it was like trying to find a needle in a haystack, this sort of training program?
Yeah, so the science is all solid across all the courses. All the fundamental accident investigation aspects are all there in the academics. It's really how they organized it, and the culture of the different agencies there is very different. So the Air Force course, you go through all the academics and all the science, but when you get out into the field and go through the actual wreckage, for your practical applications, those accidents that we were investigating were what I call more needle in the haystack investigations. For example, the one accident, it was a flight control malfunction, and unless you found that the cotter pin had backed out and the ailerons failed, you weren't going to solve it. But you had to find that one cotter pin, and then suddenly you could solve the mystery of the accident.
But it's usually a case of human factors and a long chain of events that lead up to these accidents. Typically.
Right. But then in the field, this is what you had to find was this cotter pin. Otherwise, you were never going to get it.
Get through. And then, so that was the Air Force training program.
That was the Air Force course.
We'll come back and talk about those reports in a minute. And then what was the second course you took after that?
I don't remember the exact, I think it was the NTSB course.
And was that the course that you enjoyed the most?
Yeah, well that was, obviously the NTSB is the premier accident investigation experts of the world. And it was very humbling to be there and learn from those guys who had investigated every major mishap in the last 20 years.
And which was the course that had the media aspect to it?
Well, the FAA course surprised us with, while we're out there doing the practical portion, investigating wreckage and going through the wreckage, they had surprise news crews show up with cameras and reporters and microphones, and it was trial by fire to learn working with the media and all the techniques they employed to learn stuff you weren't ready to disclose.
And they're trying to get you to disclose it, And they got some sneaky tactics?
They got a lot of sneaky tactics, and you learned they were very good at their job.
Wow. And then the NASA safety program, space safety, that's got to be something.
Well, yeah, so the science is all the same. Metallurgy, fires, all those kinds of aspects were similar. But you're in class with astronauts and talking about the space shuttle instead of airplanes.
Wow.
So that was super novel.
And what was it about the astronauts that you liked? The aspect of them, they had this huge thirst for knowledge.
Yeah, there was these astronauts were just, it was a pleasure to work with and get to know at the time, but they just craved knowledge, and they were fearless when it comes to learning, and there was nothing they wouldn't learn and couldn't learn.
And each of these courses were probably something on the order of 2 weeks long.
Yeah, roughly.
And then once you get this level of training in safety, what do you do with it? You make recommendations and nobody listens, or what? Is it a frustrating world of...
Well, safety is like everything else, unlimited wants, unlimited resources. And so if you're working at the policy level, that's what you're trying to advocate, is for things that'll make a difference and use money wisely.
And then most recently, so with all this background, you've been drafted into a little bit of help here in the airline industry. And what's the most late? You picked up a flashlight here recently with a lithium battery, and wanted to find out, is this thing legal or not? And so what kind of path did that lead you down?
Yeah, so I didn't have any big burning desire to learn about lithium, but it was during the COVID and had some downtime and had some updates to our manuals, and I was reading about lithium in our manuals, and I knew I had batteries in my flashlight, so the guidance was unclear, and so I ended up researching it and learning more about lithium and submitted some changes for the manuals, and when they got ignored, I stirred the pot a little, and suddenly I found myself on a lithium-ion battery work group.
Good.
The company.
To try to get more information out to the pilots specifically, and because so many devices that we have on board now have got these batteries, and thermal runaways are of consideration.
Yeah, it's starting to trend in the industry, and it was eye-opening to me as I started to learn a little bit about lithium, that, oh my word, all of my fellow pilots don't know anything about this either. Let's get the word out to the pilots. So that's what I've been working on.
And how'd you find out about the Blancolirio channel?
Buddy sent me a link to your channel. This is some time ago, and I've didn't meet you till last night in New York.
Yeah, that's right, on this trip.
This is the first time we met, but I've been watching your channel for a while, and you do a great job. And without all those schools, you're doing a great job. And
I'm self-taught, and there's the real professional right there.
No, you're a big brain guy, and it's a pleasure to work with you and meet you.
Excellent. Thanks, Rob. Rob White, aviation safety professional, 4 different schools. Very interesting. We got a lot more to talk about here. We'll see you here. Thanks for your support.